The Buschy and Bobo Show, a healthy scratch podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Busch and Brian Rager.
Welcome back to the Healthy Scratch podcast. It's Buschy and Bobo with you again, and we're looking better for sure. We got graphics. We got graphics. We look nice, right? Looking good was never the problem. Let's be honest, right?
We're always looking good.
100%. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Getting excited for deadline.
Getting excited. Yeah, less than a week away. Got the day off.
Yes, we do.
We got some stuff to go over with that on another episode, but
yeah, we're cramming like 3 episodes into a week. So all our like 3 viewers, like get ready. Like you're gonna get bombarded.
Especially you, Yerky out there in Finland. Like we really appreciate
Finland, Yerky. I guess, is that a guy?
I don't know.
I mean, I haven't looked at the analytics in a while, but you know,
Yeah.
there's some Finnish guys.
You know what? You know who we
German
can
guys.
thank? You know who we can thank?
Who?
Kate for watching.
We're gonna mention Kate. A little quick cameo mention, probably in a little bit. But
A little bit.
Bigger news than Kate is Elias Pettersson
Yes.
has signed a massive extension with the Canucks, which there was some rumors, right? And I want you to kind of like bring me through a Canucks fan's thought process, because like there were some rumors of like, well, they're going to move him, or like if he doesn't sign, they're going to lose him for nothing. They're like top of the West, and what's going through your mind when you hear some of these rumors beforehand?
Yeah, when I hear some of the rumors that like, okay, they're going to deal him before the deadline or at the deadline there and just get something, because he is an RFA after this year and you don't want to lose him for nothing.
Oh, is he UFA or is he RFA?
He would have been an RFA.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought he was UFA, because like if he's restricted, then not that big of a deal. But I thought he was unrestricted, and that's why that was like the biggest.
Yeah, he would have been an RFA.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
I don't know what everyone was freaking out about, because like, I don't want to sign an extension. Well, I don't. We have your rights, so.
Guys who don't want to extend him are absolute knob gobblers.
Well, sure. I mean, he's elite, dude. This guy is good at everything.
He's over a point a game player in his career.
Right, but like if you didn't have the information you know now, like before he signed, I feel like it was probably butt clenching time, because he's clearly an elite player, and it's like, well, are we going to get him back? If he doesn't want to be here, then we got to move him, right?
Yeah,
but
if
it
he
wouldn't
doesn't
have been
want
now.
No, not this year. Like you wouldn't think this year, because Vancouver's top of the league. They're in a like.
Well, I'm saying if he didn't want to be there, you would wait till the off season, right?
Well, yeah, you'd wait till the off season for sure.
Trade his rights to the draft, whatever. Like you're going for it this year. So, but I think it was 11.6 million a year for 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years, 92.8, so 11.6 AAV. It's a
very good deal in my opinion, because like William Nylander is making like $100K more, and I would take Pettersson over him.
PD over him for sure
all day. And not to say like I really like Nylander.
Yeah, Nylander's a hell of a player.
Peterson's he's a center. He's young. He does everything. He's really good defensively. Like he's kind of an all-around very, very good player, and he's a top player in the league. So to get him for the price they did, what do you think? I think they did pretty well.
I like the contract. 8 years, it brings it to 34, right? So
yeah, and it's like you're buying his prime years.
Or 33, sorry.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like you said, we're getting the prime years, and I can only assume that the cap is going to be going up.
Yeah, you would think it would be. I mean, it's going to this year. It's going up 5.
So to get him at 11.6.
Yeah, and now you have
I'm happy
him.
with it.
Yeah, you have him locked up
for, like you said, his prime.
Yeah, and so I mean, the Canucks obviously looking pretty good. We did end up going to the Red Wings and Canucks game a couple weeks ago now. I think it was. It's been a second. And do you want to talk about what happened at the game, or?
Well, the game itself, it wasn't a bad game. Like it was good for the first 2 periods. But
I enjoyed the third period and overtime. That was my favorite part. How about you?
Overtime, not so much.
No? Well, no. I will say this. I mean, Vancouver obviously, played pretty well. They were up, 3-1
Up 3-1
at one point, and Detroit had to kind of claw back, and they did and tied the game. That's something that I've talked about on the Red Wings report. Check it out. But it's like the Wings always find a way sometimes to like fall behind, but then they claw back into it. I haven't seen a game where until last night against the Panthers where they just get kind of smacked around and they don't have an answer. Most of the time they do. And they did against Vancouver, and kudos to them for pushing, and
Yeah.
getting the goals that tied up. I mean, and it's not like the Canucks didn't play well. It was just Detroit was pushing.
Detroit just outplayed them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't
they're a
think.
gritty team.
Have you seen? I don't even think I've seen like watching a game a penalty shot in overtime to win. I probably have. I just don't remember.
I don't think I've ever seen something like that.
But
a
like to
penalty
be
shot
there
in
live,
overtime.
right? To be there live and see that, I was like, "Are you shitting me?" So Jake Wallman gets the penalty shot, and you can debate the call. I mean, he definitely impeded because like Quinn Hughes, it was like a cross check.
Yeah.
Which there was some debate after the game about like the rule book and what an actual penalty shot is, where it's like tripping, hooking, shit like that. But it's like, to me, it's like if you impede that player's chance of like shoot, like without like legally, I guess.
Yeah.
So because that was Quinn Hughes that he beat, but that's 3-on-3, right? A defenseman getting a breakaway in overtime. You're just rotating around. There's really no positions, right? You'd want your defenseman to be the last guy back, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
But it's not always the
Yeah, so he scores and hits the gritty, which it's for the kids. That's something that I actually really do like, because I thought he's just being a douche. He does it. It's a charity thing. There's an angle of the celebration where it's from like the opposite corner.
Yeah.
Before he does it, he looks over to the glass and he sees like 6 kids all on the glass, and he does it looking right at them. So he did it for them. He has a charity that it
makes it a little less, a little more bearable.
A little bit, I guess. I'd still be pissed if he was on a different team. Like, fuck this guy.
Yeah,
but
this guy's just being an absolute knob goblin.
Do you want to hear a pretty funny stat? So Casey DeSmith started that game, not Thatcher Demko. Maybe if he does, it's a different outcome. Who knows? Okay, so the first time that Jake Wallman hit the gritty was against the Pittsburgh Penguins last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was also in overtime. And
guess who was in that?
Guess who was in that? It was Casey DeSmith.
Casey DeSmith.
Which is amazing. This guy got 2 overtime winners on the same goalie and grittied on his ass. It's like, dude, Casey, retire, bud.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, you're playing the Red Wings. DeSmith's not starting. Put him on the bench.
It's so funny. Like when I saw that stat, I forgot. I'm like, oh yeah, it was him in Pittsburgh last year. So, but we did have a fun time at the game, right? And
just made a whole day of it. Actually,
we made a whole day of it, but it wasn't originally supposed to be that. So it was a matinee game, 1:00. So got over there like decently early.
Which okay. Before we move on, 1:00 games. Big fan.
Love it, dude. I love it.
Just love
yesterday,
getting over there early.
The Florida game I went to yesterday was 3:00. Still pretty good, but the 1:00 ones, those are nice.
That was great.
Yeah, because it's just you get a little bit more time. It is kind of feels like a full day type of thing. Like that's why going to a Tigers game at 1:00. First pitch, it's like it's kind of nice. It's like during the day. But what happened was, I was supposed to play hockey that night at Lansbury outdoor rink, and
nice outdoor, play a nice little outdoor.
Yeah, and with some of the guys that I used to play with, I haven't seen them in a while. Anyway, like midway through the Red Wings and Canucks game, I got a text like in the second period, and it was like, "Oh, hey, hockey's canceled tonight. It's too mild out." It was pretty nice outside, right?
It was very nice.
I remember mentioning to you, like, "Hey, man, like, what are you doing the rest of the night?" And you're like, "I don't know, like nothing." So I kind of said, like, "Hey, there's a Michigan State game at LCA tonight. What do you think?"
The drinks were flowing a bit, so that definitely
it's the second period. Yeah, of course.
Definitely
might have been a factor.
Yeah, it could have been a factor there, but you're a Michigan fan. I'm a State fan, so
casually, like
Yeah. Do I know
But
Michigan State hockey off by heart? No. But
so now the thing is like looking up the standings and the players and stuff. Michigan State has been playing really well.
they
They're
won
at
the
the
Big
top of
Ten
the Big Ten.
championship.
They won now. Yeah, they just did a couple days ago, and Michigan was kind of towards the bottom. I don't know if it's kind of a rebuild or what's going on there because usually they have big prospects, and they did. They have like Rucker McGroarty, like he was a top pick. I'm pretty sure. I forget. There's another guy in there too. Oh, Frank Nazar. He was a Blackhawks pick, like 9th overall or something like that. Uh, and Michigan State, they have a lot of players that there's 2 Red Wings prospects. It was the goalie Trey Augustine, 2nd-round pick from last year, and then Red Savage, which was I think the year before. And they also have what's his name? Levshinov, some kid. He's a defenseman
Yeah,
projected to go top 10.
Leshinov
Yeah, he's supposed to
from
go top 10 in the
Belarus.
draft this year. Yeah, so Michigan State. So we decided let's get tickets to this game.
And not just
And
tickets, good tickets.
we got good tickets. Like we were sitting in the club section, like 8 rows behind the
8
penalty
rows.
box or something. Like a little too close, honestly.
It
15
was-
rows, I'm good.
Yeah, but it was a hell of a time. And one thing I noticed a little bit differently, how fast those guys were going.
And it was because we were sitting a little closer than the Red Wings game where it was like we were way up top. But
Yeah,
I'm telling you, there's a factor where you're playing in an NHL rink. You're used to playing at Yost where it's like, what, 3,000 maybe?
yeah. You're at Yost,
You
you're at
know?
Munn. It's a smaller rink, it's a
Smaller.
smaller barn.
It's still loud, but
Well,
this
you
is
got the
something where
band and you got everything there.
right. Well, it's the duel and the D, right? So they do it every year. They got the trophy and everything. But what I was gonna say is it was really weird because the Wings game was at 1. And then
Yeah.
this game was at 8:00. We're like, that's a late start. Like they could have started it at like 6 if they wanted
7
to.
or
But what we realized was it was on like Big Ten Network, and I think Michigan had a basketball
Yeah.
game, and they were waiting. They wanted to, so that's kind of what. But we had so much time, right?
Yeah.
And because we weren't planning on going to the game, we had no swag.
Exactly.
So
You can't
you
just
wanna-
go up. I can't go there to a Michigan State game in a Vancouver jersey.
no, of course not. So you could, but
I could. But
so we drove out to where did we drive out to?
we went on our way out to Livonia. We stopped at a couple places. Like we stopped at a Walmart, a Target. And,
Yeah, just to see if we could find some cheapo swag, which I think we did.
oh, there's a cameo by Frank.
Cameo by Frank. Get him in here. There he is. The legend.
The legend.
So what are we talking today?
So this is we're talking Michigan State hockey.
Michigan State hockey.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
well,
turning into
even
it's
though
turning
we
into-
know Michigan State won the Big Ten,
he did.
we do know that the overall better university and school in winning more overall titles still remains the University of Michigan.
I thought he was going to say
University
the
of
University of
Michigan
Windsor.
hockey team did have a very good season nonetheless, had quite a few players that played for the U.S. national team, and will bode very, very well next year coming up. So hats off to Michigan. Go Blue, go Michigan. Good day.
Bobo, I think we might have to rename the show. It's the Buschy and Frankie show. Get him in. This guy, what a fountain of knowledge.
I guess you can't
Man.
help that.
That was hard-hitting journalism. Well, he's retired now. He's got so much time to do his research, right?
Yeah, that's all he does. Just research and watch his home and garden shows.
Amazing. So we were going to turn it into the Rager show because we had so much time. Well, we went to a place, and I forget what it was called, but
We went to Rally House and we went to
Rally
Dick's.
House. That place had a lot of stuff. A lot of Detroit sports, Michigan,
Well, that's all.
Michigan
That's
State.
all it is. It has all the big universities. So it has
Yeah.
like a little bit of Western, a little bit of Eastern.
They had them all.
Had them
Central
all.
Mich,
Fire Up
Chippewas,
Chips.
Fire Up Chips. But I ended up getting a jersey because I'm a loser. So now I have 3. I have actually all 3 of the colors. I got the white jersey, which is what I think I got there. I already had a yellow one, and I have the navy with Michigan across this. So I was thinking of maybe bringing them to Vintage Detroit Collection and get like some names on the back. Some
Get a
numbers,
Larkin
something like that.
jersey and
Probably all 3 of them. I'd put Larkin, to be honest with you. Like, who else am I going to put?
Hughes.
Mike Commissaric. You know what I mean? Mike Camilleri.
Mike Camilleri. There you go.
Al Montoya. I could throw a bunch of names at you.
You could.
Andrew Kopp, JT Comfort. Wait, did he play for Michigan? Yeah, I think he did. I don't know. Anyway, so we
Marty
had so much
Turco?
time. Marty Turco. We had so much time that we did this stuff, went to Rally House, Dick's Sporting Goods, got our stuff, and still had so much time. And you realized something.
I'm like, yo, we're at Rally House right now, and my sister's place is less than 5 minutes away from here. So what did we do?
Go.
We had time to kill, and Kate.
It wasn't time to kill. You wanted to go visit your sister, so shout out Kate. Home alone. I was like, let's go chill. Had a great coffee. Woke us back up.
Yeah, woke us back up. Got that nice coffee in you.
Coffee and a Gato.
That's all you need.
So yeah, kind of hung out at Kate's house for a little bit. Went back for the Michigan State game, and man, was that fun. That was some good hockey. Like when you were saying they were flying, they were, and it's something where like the hits were nuts.
Yeah,
like these guys were hitting a kill. It's unbelievable. So the shot. So Michigan State won 3-2.
But the shots were like
43-41.
Yeah.
Like both teams had insane shots. So like NCAA hockey is just pure offense, and they moved the puck well, and it was exciting. I mean, that place was packed 50-50, I'd say, for fans.
Yeah,
I mean, both the fans were there. Yeah, and it was electric. Like electric atmosphere. Even when they did the player intros, skate up from the goal line or the blue line, I forgot they did that.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot different than an NHL game, and even like an OHL game or whatnot, or junior hockey here. It's
for sure. And like I've been to college hockey games before with you.
Yeah.
And that one I think by far took the cake. Like all the Great Lakes Invitationals were a little more like there wasn't that many people there, because it was never guaranteed that there was a Michigan State matchup. It was always 4 different teams. They never played each other in like the first round. It would only be in the second one.
Michigan Tech and like Minnesota or whatever.
Yeah, like they'd always have an invite Colorado College or Ferris State or something. But that game, the Duel in the D, is always packed, and it's always a fun time. So I think we should probably plan on going next year too.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it. Definitely a fun time, and yeah, like I said, I'm down for it whenever.
Yeah, for sure. And so we kind of got through. That was kind of the meat and potatoes of like what we want to talk about, the main story. There's a lot of little things that we wrote down that the one thing, and I don't want to be like a downer, but like, do you care about the Winter Classic anymore, the Stadium Series and stuff?
No, the only thing I actually cared about from this year's was the Gaslight Anthem played.
Okay, fair. They're pretty good. Yeah.
But
now I think it's definitely something where these outdoor games have kind of, in my opinion, run their course. Like there's nothing unique about it anymore. The only thing that I've
too.
Yeah, like but the only unique one was, like I said, Lake Tahoe.
Yes.
Cool places like that. But this is something where they just announced the one for next year, and it's Chicago again against St. Louis, which Chicago sucks. Chicago sucks. They got Bedard. That's it. And that's the only reason they're putting him in it. And I'm just at this point going like, I don't care. Like it's going to be such a local thing. Like I can't really believe that many people are like, I got to watch the game. I remember.
I really got to watch St. Louis and Chicago.
Remember at the beginning where you'd watch every single year because it was cool. You're like, oh, outdoor game, different teams. Now that most teams have been in it, now Chicago's been in it
29
a record
of 32
9
teams
times.
Have been in it.
Chicago's hosted like 45 times.
Chicago has the most, got 6.
Yeah, I just don't care. Although the only time I think some fan would care is if their team is in it. And so it was confirmed that the Red Wings are playing a Stadium Series game next year at Ohio State. What do they call it? Like their stadium.
At the horseshoe there.
Yeah, whatever it is. Playing the Blue Jackets. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I would go to that. Like it's not that far, right? I mean, I would drive there, and I've never done
drive down to Columbus.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I did the outdoor game 2014, but I didn't go to I didn't go to the big house. I went to what I really wanted was the alumni game at Comerica Park, and that was a lot of fun. Frigid cold, but this game's in March. It's like this time next year, so it shouldn't be that bad weather-wise.
You never know. It's either going to be something like it is right now, not too bad out, or it's going to be butt-ass cold.
But wouldn't you say that would be the time that the only time you'd care is if the Canucks were in it? Like if they were in a game like that, you'd be like, oh yeah, sure, I'm going to watch it, right?
Yeah, if it was like Detroit, Vancouver playing at
Yeah.
America or whatever, I'd be like,
Sure.
yeah, let's go.
But like if it's Chicago and St. Louis, I don't give a shit. Like I don't care.
It's just another game to me.
Of course. And that's something that like I'm kind of over them, man. That's kind of what I'm going with. Do you have any thoughts of this? Was like a while ago, but the Ridley Gregg empty netter.
I loved it.
I loved it. So funny. Oh.
And then I saw it a couple days later. Someone else, like it was in junior or like something like college or something hockey, and they did the same. I think it was girls hockey. They did the same thing.
Yeah. So I had a lot of people ask me what I thought, and I don't know if it's a shocking statement, but it was definitely something where I went, well, I thought it was hilarious. Like if someone like on the Wings did that, I'd laugh. That being said, it's there's this kind of double-edged sword where I go like, okay, hockey culture, is kind of stupid. It's part of the game, but it's kind of stupid where it's like you shouldn't do that. Like I just pictured Don Cherry, like he probably like had an aneurysm when he saw that happen. Like, what are you doing? With the fucking piano.
Yeah, with this. You can't be doing that.
You don't do that. You can't. You kids out there.
That's just hot dogging.
That's a clown. You're hot dogging. So, Morgan Riley's response
was just stupid.
Was it like, hey, like you should do that, you shouldn't do that? Like, what did you think when you saw the replay? Because I sent it to you and I was like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, like I'm just gonna pull it up again here on my screen, on one of my screens here.
It was pretty egregious.
Yeah.
Like, right after it, he goes in there and just absolutely, he like puts the guy's teeth through the glass.
Yeah, let me just watch it here for shits and giggles.
For anybody that hasn't seen it, Bobo's watching. Ridley Gregg on the Senators is coming in on a breakaway. Toronto had pulled their goalie because they're down one with like a minute left, and he takes an absolute
just a
piss missile.
Bomb.
It just puts a heater right into the net. And
you know what though, if you're an Ottawa fan, you want it, like you have nothing to cheer about this year, so like
I don't have anything to cheer about ever. Okay, and maybe that's something I can talk about. But like I went to a game against it was the Ducks and Senators. My brother's a Ducks fan. That atmosphere in Ottawa, dead. The fan experience, kind of non-existent. Like just going from a Wings game to that, and then yesterday going to a Red Wings game where like Detroit sucked yesterday, but there was still some energy a little bit in the building. There's stuff going on the Jumbotron, the drum line in the, in the concourse. There's always something going on. With Ottawa, I found there's nothing.
But isn't Ottawa's like the arena's too is out in the middle of bumfuck Idaho, right? So you're not gonna. It's not like it's Detroit where it's downtown and.
Well, it was like when the Pistons played out in like Auburn Hills. It's like you're the Auburn Hills Pistons. You're not in Detroit, right? I mean, you just have the name, but you're not there. Like Ottawa it's like half an hour away.
Yeah. Canada Senators.
Literally in the middle of nowhere, off the highway, and we parked. The only thing that's there is on the other side of the highway. There's like an outlet mall.
Yeah,
that's where we parked. Pro tip: if you ever go to an Ottawa game, which like why would you? But we went there and walked over the highway, and like there's no one there. Like when we left, my brother goes, that lineup over there from the parking lot, they'll be there for like an hour, like just trying to leave. Like just it's like the WFCU Center where it's like there's nothing really going on, but like there's only 2 exits, so it takes forever for people to filter out, and that's only a 6,000 person arena. It's a junior rink, right? But
and if you ever do go to Ottawa and you're from the Windsor area and you're a St. Clair alumni, you do have the option to get a discount here with Ottawa Senators tickets. So
I remember you showed me that. I'm like, wait a minute, why?
I don't know.
It's 8 hours away.
But
just casually, like I'm going to the Senators game and I'm driving up. What?
Well, something your brother could use. So let's use the code. Let's also give him a code.
Just give him the code. Well, yeah. he was saying, because he's a Ducks fan, but he was saying about he might do like a little 10-game package next year too, because they're not that expensive. and it's something you just write it off, or if he wants to give it to some of his patients or something, like,
Oh, exactly.
just to go, be pretty interesting. But yeah, I did that. But like, so
Back
back
to
to the
the
Ridley
hit.
Gregg thing. Like, okay, what do you think of the response? Because we already said, okay, it's kind of funny.
The response was too much. There, like, you don't cross check a guy right in the freaking dome.
So what would you want him to do?
Like, if you give him a little, like, a rub out or whatever.
Drop the
Like,
gloves, man. Fight him. You know what I mean? Don't blindside. Like, drop the gloves. Be like, all right, you want to fucking do that? But here's the thing that's really funny. And this is the hockey culture part of it. Hey, like, we're tough hockey players. Like, we take a shot in the leg and, oh, you just, man up and keep playing. And, oh, I broke 3 teeth off. I kept going, right?
Yeah.
But don't shoot it so hard into our net. What? Like, that makes no sense.
No.
There's a way
my feelings are hurt because of that.
If you're Ridley Gregg, you know that if you do that, you may have to answer for that, right? But that he's a pest. He's a pest. And also, it was Toronto Maple Leafs takeover at that game. It was like a Leafs home game. So I would probably feel a little like, you know what, fuck you guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm
You
gonna just
come into our barn and you guys have
I'm gonna
more
punctuate
fans.
this.
And
now, Morgan Riley getting 5 games was probably right on the dot of what I thought. I thought it maybe would be a little more, possibly, but I thought it was enough. And ironically, without him, Toronto won every game. All 5 games there that he was out, they won. So, like, that's kind of interesting too. But and another thing with that, there's a guy in the Leafs that probably needs to just shut up forever, right?
And I'm looking at a picture of him right now, going like this.
Ryan Reeves. Okay,
Yep.
He fought that Rempe kid from the Rangers last night, and I don't know,
like flexes on him or whatever.
As much as like this Ryan Reeves clown will like go, hey, like I don't know. He's just like for some reason relevant, but he doesn't do anything on the ice. He's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And when he does fight, it's like staged, and I get that Rempe is like the like tough guy right now, but the thing is like he has had to fight every fucking game just because he's a big guy, and it's one of these things where Ryan Reeves being like a veteran, he's 36, right?
Yeah.
Dude, take one out of Probert's book. Why are you chasing down a 21-year-old? Let's go. And he didn't want it. Rempe's like, no, I'm good. Like, he eventually fought him. But like, it should be the other way around. Like, if that's the thing is, if Reeves was a relevant fighter, Rempe would have been like, I'm going to take out Ryan Reeves. He didn't want to. Because you know why? He's a fucking mosquito. I don't need, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you. So, I don't know. This kid's going to probably have to like tone it down a bit. This Rempe, it's a cool story, but like he's going to take a lot of shots. Yeah. And he did against Columbus. I forget who he fought, but Olivier. Yeah. And dude, he beat the wheels off of that Rempe kid because he's a fighter. But yeah, Reeves, I don't know. I'm just getting sick and tired of him. I mean, he's always yapping, always talking, and nothing happens.
He's always saying something.
Exactly.
And it's not even like it's just stupid. Like, what he says doesn't make sense half the time. He's like you said, he's charging after 21-year-olds now, and
it's just the opposite way. Like, think of Bob Probert. There was a story. I think it was Scott Parker. Remember Scott Parker, who played for the Avalanche? He was kind of a tough guy, but when he was a rookie, like, he was the one that was going after Probert, and Probert's like, I'm not wasting my time with you, kid, right? Then eventually it was like, come on, give it to me, let's go, because he's the heavyweight.
He's the guy. Of passage.
He's been there for a long, long time, right? And he's earned that respect. So I feel like Reeves doesn't have that respect. It's totally different. Like, he's a tough guy, but it's like, I don't know if there is the same level. Not even close. You can't compare Bob Probert to, but maybe that's where it was a little bit different back in the day, where there was a little bit of like honor. But it's cool to see. Like, I've never been a fighter ever.
No.
But it's part of the game. I'm definitely one of those. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's definitely not as prevalent, but it's a reason why some of these stupid checks and dumb shit, they can enforce it themselves. Because let's be honest, the referees aren't going to do anything about it. They're not going to they fail most of the time at managing the game anyway. Which leads me to my next point. And it has to do with the Riley suspension too. I got so sick and tired of hearing from Leafs fans on Twitter, but it was like,
it's not fair to us, blah, blah, blah.
exactly. Like, if you think your team is unfairly persecuted, got news for you, man. They're not.
No, every team has it.
I saw a lot of stuff yesterday about the Red Wings and the officiating and stuff, and it's like, it's never going to be 50-50, even though for some reason referees have to like even it up and shit. If one team's being a bunch of dum-dums and they keep taking penalties,
then there's reason for it to be even.
Right.
One team is being a bunch of clowns.
Exactly. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, oh, like the referees screwed us. We lost 4-0.
No, you screwed yourself.
There's been some times where, like, even yesterday, there was a couple like scrums where like the Wings came out like 2 or 3 times with the extra penalty. Like, okay, I mean, statistically, that probably shouldn't happen that much, in that situation, but it did. But like, that's the thing. I don't think. Well, if Riley was wearing like a different jersey, just because he's a Leaf. It's like, no, it's because he fucking popped this guy's head off and smashed it into the glass, right?
You don't just, like I said, two-hand the guy right in the...
No. It's just, you can't do that, right? So if you think your team is unfairly persecuted,
then go kick rocks.
They're just not. It'll feel like that because guess what? That's your favorite team.
It's your team, and
yeah, that's what's going to happen.
That's who you go with.
Yeah. But yeah, like the whole unfair thing. And speaking of unfair, dude, are the Golden Knights, are they just like masters of LTIR? What is happening? It's every year with these guys.
Vegas just knows how to do it, apparently.
Well, Jack Eichel's on LTIR. Mark Stone is now on LTIR, which they did it last year too. It's almost like the last 3 Stanley Cup champions have had to use long-term injured reserve, like, to gain an advantage. And if people don't understand what we're talking about, long-term injured reserve, when a player is hurt and you put them on a regular IR, they still, I think, there's certain rules with long-term injured reserve. They don't count against your salary cap.
So you can.
So, yeah, you can keep this guy on LTIR. So, like, I think Stone makes like 10 mil or 9 or something, right? So does Eichel. So these guys are, like, under 20 million now they have for the deadline, so they can go out and get anybody. And the thing that's fucked is you get to the playoffs, they can come back. There's no salary cap in the playoffs, which we've said that in a previous show probably a year ago, that there should be a fucking salary cap in the playoffs. Like, what are we doing here?
Plus, okay, so they got the 10 mil from Eichel.
Yeah.
Stolen, they're cap friendly. They just have them on regular IR.
Well, but anyway, it's one of those things where, like, there's no way. Like, if, like, now you just have a bunch of extra money to go out and grab guys, right?
Yeah.
The Lightning had that with Kucherov too. But this is only if they come off of IR after the regular season. If they come back before, they're screwed.
Then they count against.
Like, Colorado has Landeskog out for the season. They said it's very doubtful that he would play in the playoffs anyway. But if he was ready and he came back, there's no cap hit. There's nothing, right? Like, he's just on the team.
Yeah.
So I think I can't believe that they haven't closed that loophole yet, because it's every freaking year. And it's just like, it's amateur hour.
There's something that, like I said, this should be, if it's happening 2, 3, 4 years in a row now.
Yeah. Every year.
You gotta.
It's like the Mark Stone special, man.
The Stoney special.
He did it last year. It's the same thing.
Look how it turned out.
Yeah. But that's with the salary cap, what can happen, where I go, so many teams are right at the cap. And when we do our trade deadline preview show, there's like, of the buying teams, half of them are within like $1 million or $2 million of the salary cap. So they're going to have to make these moves where a third team comes in and takes on 50% of the salary and then gives a pick to this other team to take more salary just to fit these guys under the cap. And I just feel like it's something where it's now commonplace for teams to do this because they have to. But like, They shouldn't have to do that. Like that's why the cap needs to keep going up. You see how much the NFL cap went up?
No, how much?
30 million. It's going up 30 mil this year, and that is high. But percentage wise, it's going up the same kind of percentage each year. Now they're bringing in billions, right?
Yeah.
The NHL, I mean, we should maybe it'll go up $1 million. I'm like, really? You know how much $1 million buys a team? Not that much, obviously, because they're all. If you go on cap friendly, half the teams are right at the cap. That's not healthy. Like, I get trying to spend as much as you can, but then you have teams on the flip side, like freaking Arizona, that don't spend anything. Dude, the Coyotes were literally in the playoffs, and they lost 12 in a row. Like they were in it. Well, I mean, at the beginning of the year, they were in a playoff spot. But they lost 12 in a row, and then they beat Ottawa, which is really funny. Suck it, Ottawa.
The Coyotes, like they're just so. And they have tons of cap room too, if they wanted.
But they're not going to use it because they don't want to spend money. But and now they're in the news again, right? Because it's like this is kind of the last kick at the can. It's like how many kicks at the can have we had here? Winnipeg has attendance problems, and Gary Bettman has a meeting with the ownership. Guys, have you see what's going on in Arizona? They're playing in a fucking NCAA stadium.
They're playing in a 5,000 seat barn called Mullet Arena,
and they're probably not even selling that out. They can't.
No,
there's no way. But okay, so I just feel like this is going the way of like they're gonna leave. Like they can't stay there. They've talked about
there's so many other
arenas in Tempe. They've talked about going to where
deserve it.
Yeah. Okay. So like, who do you if the Coyotes were gonna move? Which
Houston.
I think at this point they should. Houston. Yeah, that would be an interesting one.
People always say Quebec.
Yeah, it's not going to be in Quebec, guys. It's just not feasible. Plus, it's one of these things where I kind of think you keep it in the West. So there's no realignment. You don't have to do anything like that. Now, when we're talking about expansion, yeah, there's some teams that like Houston, Atlanta, again, for some reason. There's been a few spots like that have maybe expressed interest, but maybe a spot that I think I mentioned it to you off the show, but that maybe would be feasible would be like Utah, like Salt Lake City.
Yes, you have.
Because I guess the Jazz owner, I guess he's kind of a younger dude and has said like, yeah, we would love an NHL team here. And that's something where like I would love to maybe see a team there because there's never been one there. I mean, the last time I saw hockey in Salt Lake City was 2002 with the Olympics, right?
So they've been talking with Gary Bettman since 2022 about possibly bringing a team to Salt Lake City.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's something where like we've done a year or two ago, the original 6 draft where we went, hey, if there was only 6 teams, how good would these teams be? We're watering down the more teams that come in. It's like you keep watering it down.
Yeah.
Like some of these 4th line guys probably should be
now. Yeah.
So who knows? I think the Coyotes are screwed. I think they've got to move it. Like they've said, if this doesn't work out, the league would repossess them type of thing. Like the league would own them, which has happened before. Yeah, it's happened before. But just, I don't know. Like Sacramento, maybe. Like, do we put a team there, or do we do like, you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking of NBA teams, or like, that have
like San Diego, or no, I don't think San Diego would work.
No, like they got the Gulls.
Yeah, they do. They have an AHL team.
Yeah. There already is a team in Vegas. Like, so I don't know. We'll see. Houston. Yeah, I think Houston would be an interesting spot because that would still be more of, you'd be in the Western Conference. How about a spot like I don't know, North Dakota, right? Or like Wisconsin.
North Dakota does have a good college following.
They
so
do.
You would think.
Yeah, and I mean, I was thinking Wisconsin, like you think
Green
Packers,
Bay area.
Yeah, which is a small town technically, but they
Milwaukee.
could. Milwaukee would be interesting. So there are a lot of spots that they could try to move. I mean, anywhere but Arizona. I mean, it's just not working, man. Like
Arizona's not worked forever.
It's just ain't it.
You know what else isn't it?
What's that?
And Fanatics.
What a segue! Love it. Fanatics.
I've seen. If they're taking over the NHL, if anything that we've seen from MLB is any indication on how things are going to be, then I'm scared.
we'd be in trouble. The MLB jerseys, I don't know what's going on with those. I follow this Twitter account called Fanatics Sucks, and some of the things that get reposted by this account are like, this can't be real. Like the jerseys that we're ordering from DHgate are of better quality. Like the jerseys are messed up. The pants are see through. They absolutely butchered the back of the
The
jersey.
name bars and the
Bars and the
logo.
numbers. It's also like ironed on shit. Like, and the players are saying it looks terrible. You can see everybody talks.
So I saw something on Twitter there. It was, I forget who it was in the MLB. They were complaining about it. They said, "Oh, we go from this last year to this year.
Yeah.
Come on, Fanatics." And Fanatics responded, "Hey, if your order is wrong, please reach out to us and we'll get it all fixed."
Yeah, responding to an MLB like, that doesn't look right. We should fix it. It's like, these are the official ones. You guys did it. And then the CEO, that Mark Rubin guy, comes out and he's like, yeah, we're just doing what Nike tells us to do. It's like, oh, okay, listen, you guys have a shit like falling. Like, you can go Wings game. You look at the Fanatics ones, they're terrible quality. Like,
it's not
they're
the
gonna
same
fall
as
off.
the actual Adidas.
Now I'm wearing Fanatics pants. Listen, are you gonna see these pants? These are nice.
Let us see your bulge.
Check these out. Like, I got the thing on there, hasn't fallen off yet.
Go.
But these are Fanatics technically. I don't know where the thing is.
But
on my ass.
It's not a jersey.
It's not a jersey, but like, their stuff usually falls apart really quickly. I think it's something that might be a problem. Now, one of the rumors that I have heard is that a lot of the NHL jerseys are made in Quebec.
Really?
The Adidas, Prime Green, all that stuff. Because I think we can agree that the Adidas jerseys are perhaps the nicest, cleanest jerseys that we've got in NHL history.
Yeah.
I love like the crest with the kind of, there's a pop. You know what I mean? There's like some of the threads are popped out a bit. They look very clean, and I got used to them really quickly, with even the shoulders and the collar, different than the Reebok ones.
Yep.
But they're beautiful, and like, to go from this to like, ooh, Fanatics. But what I have heard, this is just what I've heard, the place that makes these jerseys in Quebec are also making the jerseys for Fanatics. So I'm thinking we're just gonna get, on the back where it says Adidas, it's just gonna have the Fanatics logo. It's gonna be the same jerseys, hopefully, right? And there's not gonna be anything crazy changing. Hopefully, I'm saying hopefully, because you know how much of a jersey nerd I am, and so are you.
Oh yeah,
and I won't be buying jerseys like that. Like, people have been loading up on these old jerseys because they look so good. So, but it's pretty crazy. I don't know. The Fanatic stuff is always going to be, until we see it. Until we see it.
Until we actually see it. But if MLB is any indication on how things are going to be, then ruh-roh.
For sure. The last thing I want to talk about was on our show sheet, but it was this whole Patrick Kane thing, because I didn't talk about it on the Red Wings report. When people, if anybody asks you, like, why do you like hockey, or why do you love sports? Like, I don't get it. I feel like that game was one of those that you point to and go, this is why. Because the way that all went down was like scripted. You can't.
It was awesome.
It was absolutely awesome. Like, just the whole thing with Chelios getting his jersey retired, who went from Chicago to Detroit, just like Kane.
And then Chelios just throwing it over to Kane, saying, hey, he's the best American player.
Yeah. But did you hear what he also said? And it was pretty cool the way that he said it, because he didn't piss off Detroit fans. He said, hey, Kaner, that jersey looks kind of weird on you, buddy. Don't worry, it grows on you. But just know that whatever happens, you're going to be standing here at one point just like me. Meaning he's a Blackhawk, right?
Yeah.
He's going to get his jersey retired when he retires. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, right? So that was pretty cool. Seeing the ovation at the first TV timeout, Bally Sports Detroit, like, stuck with it. And Ken and Mick are the best. They're the best in the business calling games. Ken Daniels, Mickey Redmond. I'm a homer, but at the same time, some of these calls during this game obviously went kind of viral, and every comment was like, dude, these guys are great. What a great call. Like, even like Spit and Chicklets, like, these guys are great. Yes, but they let the moment breathe. They didn't say anything, right? And he did like 2 extra curtain calls. Like the place went bananas. I was like, I haven't seen that. I hate Chicago, but I'm like, man, these fans fucking love Patrick Kane. Like he is Chicago,
and
right?
rightfully so. Like he's done
So
so much for them.
yeah,
Man.
and so after all that happened, like Mickey Redmond was like tearing up, like because he got emotional. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
You don't see this that much, right? And they even said like Larkin was getting a little emotional too because like that was one of his favorite players growing up. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. After that game goes on, Wings suck, right? It was like 2-1 Chicago. And then eventually, like 4 minutes left in the game, DeBrincat scores from Kane. I'm like, oh, that's sick, right? Because both Chicago guys, right?
Chicago boys.
And then they announced the goal, and like the place went pretty loud for when they said Patrick Kane. Goes to overtime. He had a rush with like 5 seconds left where I remember Ken Daniels being like, can you imagine, right? Like if this happens. And they go to overtime. And I want to tell you what I was sitting right here watching the game. And what I experienced was like just watching this. Kane didn't start overtime, and it went in at one point, a couple minutes in. Chicago had a rush. Seth Jones comes in, shot, saved by Reimer, who like played a pretty good game. And I saw Reimer and 2 other white jerseys. I saw 3 Blackhawk jerseys. I'm like, someone's not in the frame. Someone's up at center ice.
Yeah.
I didn't know who it was because I was watching the play. I didn't realize who was dragging behind or if someone went for a change or something. And when that puck came up to center and the camera panned
and you see
and I saw 88, I out loud went, no fucking way. Because I was like, there's no way this is happening.
It's got to be scripted.
He goes in, scores. I jump out of my seat. I'm like, holy shit. Like, and she's like, what happened? I'm like, fucking Kane just scored in overtime in Chicago.
In Chicago.
And the place went bananas like it was a Chicago win, which never seen that before.
Yeah, especially against Detroit, right? Too.
Can't blame them because they have nothing.
A big boo.
Yeah, of course. Well, they gave Kane the ovation and went right into the Detroit sucks chant, which was
of course.
That's fine, but I'll tell you that happening on that night in that way for that player in that situation, you can't draw it up like that.
No,
it was perfect. It was literally like a storybook thing, and I just was like, this is unbelievable. And in my opinion, just thinking back, if you take away like some of the Stanley Cup stuff, just general like regular season stuff, that's a top 3 moment I've seen in Red Wings, like my viewing, that I got like up for. I've never seen anything like that. It was so cool. And dude, I never thought I'd be a Patrick Kane fan. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, right.
If you went and played for Vancouver, you'd be like, what the hell? So
yeah, it's a guy that you're rooting against almost like his whole career, and then he's coming in and he's been nothing but class and
he's been a star. He's still been good, man.
Being a stud for Detroit.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that was kind of the last thing I thought we were going to talk about. So going forward, we are going to be filming our trade deadline preview at one point. I think maybe today. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
Yeah, and we went through, and the way that it works is me and Bobo have made our own lists. We kind of went through and did who's buying, selling, maybe in the middle, went through some of the players that could be available. Didn't look at anyone else's lists, right? Didn't go on TSN, nothing like that. But this is something where like we went in and did our own lists, and now we have our own top 25. Bobo has his top 25. We're going to average them out, go through them, make our list. Make our list and kind of go, here's where some of these players might end up, right? See if we hit on any of them, because I think last year we did a little bit.
We hit a few.
We had a few. So, yeah, and then we will be off on Friday, trade deadline day. We'll probably do a pod at the end of it, just to kind of recap kind of what happened.
I might go live on Twitch during it. We'll see.
Maybe we could, man. I got the OBS set up. So until that time, it's the Buschy and Bobo show. We will see you for the trade deadline preview. Have a good one, boys. Talk to you soon.
Keep your stick on the ice.